Good afternoon, I'm Daniel Miller and this is my daily podcast. I welcome you all. This is the daily podcast for Wednesday, the 24th of March of 2021. A very warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members, participants and viewers worldwide on various platforms. Thank you so much for coming today, and I want to welcome Kat. Kat said hello and a very welcome to everyone. So we are obviously saying exactly the same. Good afternoon from Britain and good morning, as I know that Kat is in the US. How are you doing? How is everything out there? How are you surviving this dreadful pandemic period that we all had to be sustaining for so long? So thank you to all who are joining us today, and thank you for your messages which I received since yesterday, which is truly wonderful. I'm so greatly elated to see that there are people watching and listening to the podcast on playback on various platforms and responding and basically engaging with some of the topics, because we really have been looking at the most recent developments here in the industry and the biggest things like Bethesda being bought by Microsoft and the overall gaming community thriving throughout the period of the pandemic, and some references to graphic novels and arts in video gaming, and the list just goes on and on and on. So that's been truly wonderful, and very grateful to all who were taking time to write, because obviously we are all trying to connect with as many people as possible worldwide, and I'm always very delighted to see that we constantly have new members joining our community, which is great. And certainly we did realize after some of the stats were collated that the overall participation through online communities, not just on my channel but on Twitch and elsewhere, had grown exponentially for quite a while. And certainly during the last 12 months we've had about 75% increase on the number of participants and people who are coming into the world of video gaming, and that is live video gaming, which means people who are accessing them through various platforms and through the live services. So from 2.5 billion we've gone up to 4 billion, and that is absolutely astonishing. I just can't believe that many people are so interested and indeed finding their feet in this wonderful activity. And as we said in our recent podcast, basically gaming had gone to the stage 4, and I'm very grateful to Microsoft for providing us with this sort of like a chart of the overall video gaming history and development, because it did occur to me, but it wasn't as clearly spelled out as in that particular broadcast. And really very excited to see that people are indeed joining forces and gathering their clans and squads together every single day, similar to what we had here with Destiny and Warzone on my channel. And I think the overall level that we reached is really called game becoming a social network. So we talked about it yesterday, and I'm so grateful to several people who are emailing us about this, and we'll open up the discussion and all we do here today with some of those questions. First of all, we had a question from Bob, and he is in NYC, and he said, I was very interested to hear that another NYC resident was telling you all about his Destiny-based community in the US, because I'm also streaming and playing Destiny, and I have many people joining me every day from all parts of the world, and he said, particularly during the time of the pandemic, it's been a truly humbling experience to be able to talk about the most recent developments in every one of the countries through people who are really members of my community. So he said, thank you, Daniel, for doing exactly the same, and thank you for waving the flag for our kind of Destiny community members. And I thoroughly enjoy your streams, and I really enjoy your podcast. Thank you. Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate it. And you will know from my streams, and certainly from all we did here with Destiny, that we did indeed have very many participants from the US, and I think the core membership of the Destiny veteran community indeed is based in the United States. So really great to hear that we have two different members of our community, Bob and Sam, and they basically have their own networks. They built their own community. Not sure about Sam, whether he's also a streamer. He didn't really state this. And I should appreciate sometimes people pop in under pseudonyms, and so you don't easily connect with, let's say, Sam, who is my community member, and Sam, who does, let's say, a hub on Twitch under a very, very different sort of name. And it's very interesting that obviously both of them had engaged with Destiny community worldwide. I mean, Destiny community as it stands today, but one member was engaging with Destiny on the domestic level, whilst the other did branch out and connect with everyone else who was also based in various corners of our planet. And, at the end of the day, online gaming is all about connectivity and interaction, and it's down to ourselves. Because, quite frankly, when you are subscribing to Twitch as a streamer, you need to be stating your own direction, your own rules, and your own preferences. So, for instance, it is clearly stated that sometimes people will not want to have people who are Spanish speakers or Italian speakers to be constantly talking in their own native languages on English-speaking channel, which is understandable because obviously you want people to be connecting and understanding everything that's being said. This is a problem sometimes with random gamers that will come into Apex Wars and PUBG and the live service games, because they will not be aware of the fact that they are live on Twitch unless I tell them, which is what I do every single time I'm doing a single match with randoms. I'll tell them, you are on Twitch live and you need to subscribe to the Twitch rules. So when they hear Twitch live rules, even if they don't understand English too well, they will know that they're actually being recorded. They're in a live forum, and that in itself will frequently cause the immediate departure. They will not want to be recorded, or they will not want to be participating in a live stream, because what they're doing is they're just doing their own game with their own club on their own hub. And I think some of the community members and participants are very much like that, irrespective of whether you are taking part in a global community or you're running it locally with your friends, family, and everyone else. You are still getting a wonderful support from all the participants, and you are able to connect with everybody who is seen as an active member, a person who's coming in and indeed delivering their content or participation, be it through online chats or through just chatting, or indeed if they're going to be squatting up with you within a particular game. All of them become really active members of your community. So really what I tried to expose was the use of language, because we have people from all countries, and obviously English is assumed to be the most commonly spoken international language of today, so therefore the vast majority will indeed, even if they had some other mates would adhere to the rules, and therefore it will be very easy to connect. So I know that in the US you have separate groups of people who also are non-English speakers within the US, and they will build their own communities, like a Latino community or any other. And it is very significant when we have separate communities then joining hands and producing their own content and making sure that everything becomes a bit more integrated, because this channel is family friendly, all inclusive, and I want to be running all the content here irrespective of what the game is, be it State of Decay or Warzone or indeed Destiny or Pokemon or Pikuniku. I'm always trying to present it all in a format which is going to be easily digested, easily understood, and given to all members of our community, irrespective of who they are, where they are, whatever they do. But there are rules, So if you, for instance, have a Destiny stream, and then you will get maybe some people coming in from Italy or Spain who want to kind of talk in Spanish or Italian live on the stream, well, that will be seen as an issue because the overall channel had been subscribed as a channel where English is going to be spoken, on the chat and through live online participation, and therefore I've got to be subscribing to the rules, which means that's just part and parcel of myself being a broadcaster on Twitch, and I think everyone understands that. But I was quite interested to hear two members of our community, Destiny community, from the US, running their own. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about that. Didn't even have enough time to switch my mic off. Two members of our Destiny community in the US running their separate groups, and one which is fairly international, the other that is based locally. So it's very interesting, isn't it? Because incidentally, two of our friends, Sam and Bob, could well then get together through this channel and then reconnect and create new friendships and bonds. So that's really truly wonderful. So thanks very much to Sam and Bob for your responses, reviews. Always very grateful, and I never tire of reading the messages and thoughts coming in from our participants, because everyone is having their own piece of pie. The people experiencing our community in very different fashion depending on who they are, what type of game they like, gaming they like, and everything else. And it's always refreshing to hear the news like the ones we heard from Sam and Bob from the US, and also dedicated to our Destiny community. The other question I had is from Jessica, and Jessica is in Brighton, and she said, I really found the overall experience of live streams during the pandemic to be fundamentally important for my life, because I have some issues and I find it very difficult to be staying indoors every day, the whole day, but being able to connect with others through various games. I play Apex and PUBG and Warzone. Has been a truly remarkable, wonderful experience. I'm finding all of those friends coming from everywhere around the world to be on the same page. We talk about the same things, and I'm now considering whether to become also a streamer, because I really like your channel. I like the diversity and inclusivity that you present. I'm also thinking of doing something similar. Well, thank you first of all for your very kind words. I'm very, very excited and very humbled to hear that you are indeed watching the channel and supporting all we do here. We had quite a variety of different games during the last 12 to 14 months, and the structure of the channel did change quite considerably really during this period. As you've seen also with the podcast being introduced as a separate slot, then different games being brought in through DRBMiller introducing, and then the general AAA blockbusters, the biggies being out there in a separate section as well. So all good, and very pleased to hear that first of all you like my channel and that you like the content that we provide here together with our other participants, because the content creation is not all about the streamer. It's all about the overall involvement of the community. And if there is one thing in here, our streams are divided into two sections. One of the streams, when we are streaming obscure games, or the ones which are not based on any form of multiplayer involvement, will be quieter. There'll be more of me talking and discussing things. And if we are doing Apex, PUBG, particularly Warzone, I have to say, or Destiny, then there will be a lot of content coming from our participants, and you've seen the usual suspects in every one of these games, people who are here on the regular basis and providing us with a lot of food for thought. So that's wonderful, and it's two of these combined. So Jessica, if you're considering whether, obviously you are considering your future activity as a streamer, and I think it is very wise to be kind of looking at a business plan, mapping out the structure and what you want to be doing and how you want to be doing it, and then sticking to it for a while, then revising and connecting with community members. What's very important is that your channel on Twitch or YouTube needs to be well embedded within all the other social networking hubs. You need to have a Discord channel, you need to have your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram. All of them need to interact, and each one of the hubs needs to be providing a separate type of high quality content. So don't make anything repetitive and don't make anything automated. Automated responses and mail shots and messages are hated by everyone, and I do everything manually. It does take a lot more time, but for instance, some of my colleagues on Discord, they have automated announcements, and I don't do this because if the automated announcements keep coming, it's fine. It's just saying my stream's live. but I can prefer to put my own thing in there, which is what I would have created on Twitter and just brought it in manually so people know exactly that's exactly what's happening, and just make them as thriving, as positive, and as original as practicable, and make sure that your personality, the way you are as a person, does come across. And then as you carry on, you'll build your community membership, and you will find, first of all, how you want to run a channel, and how you want to be presenting yourself, and also what topics you wish to be debating whilst live on there. Whether you want to be more kind of driven towards just chatting channels, discussion forums, and forums where people kind of meet up and chat, or whether you want to be hammering it with PUBG, Apex, or any other kind of serious online competitive PvP activity, or maybe you want to stroll through Fallout or Mass Effect, massive big open world, Elder Scrolls, and then bring in people in order to chat in response to what you're doing live online, etc., etc. So thank you very much for the message. Very glad to see that you're first of all liking the channel, and also most importantly, you're raising, I guess, the issue that is pivotal for everyone who is a viewer and broadcaster, and that's to do with the pandemic. You said although you experienced some issues, you really find Twitch streams and overall online interactivity to be fundamental to day-to-day life, because without it, you quite frankly wouldn't know what to do. Well, that's right, because all of us are spending most of our time indoors. I mean, I'm spending 22 hours indoors, and I got my vaccine the other day, COVID vaccine, that is on Saturday, and still for the next couple of weeks I'll still be spending all my time indoors, and I'll be adhering to the rules. I'll do exactly all that I need to be doing in order to protect the lives of others, because guess what? Maybe with the vaccine I'll have almost full immunity, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I will not be the carrier of the virus. So I've got to really adhere to the rules and to all the measures in order to prevent others from catching it off me. And we did see yesterday in Britain, we had a very somber commemorative event. It's been 12 months since we introduced this dreaded full lockdown, and the scientists did say if there was one thing that they really overlooked to a degree, which is also quite new, was the number of asymptomatic people who were spreading the virus. Because the assumption is, if you are, like with other airborne flu-like viruses, symptomatic, you're likely to be transmitting it to others. And they said they weren't prepared for it. It's just it's an honest disclosure, and I find that truly frightening. But at the same time, it is a wake-up call. It's a warning to us all that we need to be a lot more alert. We need to be a lot more compliant with the rules, irrespective of the fact whether we receive the vaccine or not. So Jessica, you said that you had so many different friends and so many different connections live online, and I'm sure that you were able to talk a lot and basically invest your time in an activity that brought you lots of different rewards and benefits, which meant good chats, many discussions, making new friends, great online gaming, and overall everything being quite upbeat and positive during the times which in fact are everything but. And that's exactly what we had here on this channel. And the channel's been providing services and a platform for that degree of connectivity. I think with online games and PvP ones, Destiny, Warzone and Apex, we get a lot more of that popping in, having a look, saying hello, wanting to join the community, than with the games which do not have the overall multiplayer involvement. But nevertheless, if you were to be playing Skyrim or Oblivion, and if you were a regular streamer every single day for a certain number of hours, I guarantee you that you will build your community equally well. It's just that at the moment the hype is all about PvP, competition and battle royale. That's just all there is, and everybody, very many people are doing it. So it's easier to bring people in and build a small community to start with, and then longer you are there, greater the capacity for subscriptions, memberships and everything else will come. But I could keep kind of digressing to the streaming quite a bit, whilst Jessica said she really felt that being able to watch and participate in live forums online kept her alive. And I think that's really something that all of us can just take away from this podcast, because we as humans, we are social beings, and we have got to be connecting with others through various forms of social interactivity or interaction. And if we are being prevented from doing so, we are, experiencing a serious downturn physically and psychologically. It's just connected with the way we are as beings. Our biology is very much dependent on how we use our electrical impulse, how we are burning up the energy, how we are connecting with others. And you will know full well a person who naturally has high level of energy, if he's being kept indoors, he's going to be like one of the other species, absolutely driven mad, feeling that the energy is far too high, they're not burning it up, and therefore perhaps they will resort to behaviors which are not otherwise acceptable. And so these platforms gave us a very, very pertinent, very potent new way through which we are connecting with the world. And I met so many different people from worldwide, and I think my Warzone community recently, we talked about this sort of international aura auspices of the community which we built in the last 6 months, and people from all over the world, and the vast majority from North Europe, got to admit, and South Europe, from Europe, to make it really perfectly clear. And they're all amazed with the ease to which people connected. And I explained that, obviously being a veteran of various games here live online, I do feel that the foundation, the basic premise for a game becoming a social network is somebody's interest in that particular game. So it's like loving sci-fi in films, loving drama on TV, loving comedy or musicals. Automatically, as you're loving that activity, or loving football, or loving tennis, you will be able to connect with other people because you're sharing the same interest. Don't forget, with online gaming, we are also looking at an activity that is immediate, and it is to a degree competitive. You will have to be displaying certain skills in order to get through it, i.e. survival in Battle Royale, or making a good effort with a full team that is trying to accomplish a particular task. And you will be a bit exposed, but at the same time, if you have a crew of people who are also doing the same, learning as they go along, having a lot of fun, you're making an immediate bond. It's a learning process. You're talking, you're connecting, you're meeting other people, you're defeating some of the other ones. You get defeated frequently, you make fun out of being killed, eliminated, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful activity. And what I found really staggering through my experience of military simulation games, I think PUBG and Warzone probably are the best example. Apex to a degree, but I think the other two excel on the front, and that is to do with the way human psychology comes across. You are able to get to know somebody very quickly because the activity is based on a group of people, or an individual, or a duo, which is being placed under considerable pressure. The pressure is there in order for them to survive, and it's similar to what we have in day-to-day, our life out there experiences. We are always under some degree of pressure. Payment of bills, responsibilities at work, need to get to work in time, the use of public transport, marital issues, children, families, you name it. And within the game, as you're being placed under considerable pressure, you will see different sides of this person's character coming across quite fast. I mean, you have players who are a bit sort of reserved, cagey, not want to use their mics, and but if you're having a community that is thriving, connecting and talking, that is going to be very, very visible. So for somebody who had spent most of my life analyzing human behavior, it's been an absolutely remarkable experience. I caught the bug. And honestly, I think the future of humanity will be having a whole new section of psychological science dedicated to the way people are both online and how online activity is affecting them on the inside. And certainly I will be very interested in writing some of the pioneering books on this, because I've spent quite a bit of time during the last 3 years looking at it, analyzing it, examining it, and finding some pointers and directions. It brings me back to the days of early messengers, where I've been running a couple of experiments on how people interact, and I really had found it incredible that I remember that particularly on ICQ, and even more so on MSN, similar to what you had recently on mobile phones and smartphones with texting. You will get somebody's personality quite quickly across due to the way they interacted. You have people who are very laid back and they do not respond to messages within 5 or 10 minutes. You get others who are even responding before you finish the last sentence. The way they use letters or words, whether they abbreviate or whether they provide you with full sentences. The overall responses, erratic behavior, impulsivity, and all kinds of other traits were coming across rapidly. And from somebody who worked in consulting rooms, then being able to see that live online on my own laptop or computer was definitely very curious. And that's just been elevated with, it's a progression, and it's been elevated through the way people behave if they are in a group live online in a game. And I could be running a channel called Gaming Psychology, but I think for the time being I'll just do everything in this format. There are reasons as to why that is, but anyway, I also want to have some respite because running a gaming psychology forum is really changing emphasis, and it's a different sort of story. I always remember Path was saying Dr. Miller, but DRB doesn't stand for doctor. It stands for my 3 names, and it's always great to hear that people are retaining their light-hearted approach to PvP and their good sense of humor. Such is the case with my Warzone community. We had lots and lots of fun, and the vast majority of our members are just wonderful people who are meeting up every single day and connecting and having a lot of fun. And it's actually quite it is quite hectic and could be quite tiring sometimes, because for a streamer like myself who kind of brought in lots of people together, created a community and made sure that that community was thriving every single day, it's not just like somebody who popped in to say hello. It does take a lot of time, energy and effort to make sure that the clock's ticking as it should. And I find it quite tiring, I have to say. I probably have been at my most tired after 6 months of Warzone every day compared to all the other games. I can't tell you why, but I just think maybe it's a combination of the need to be quite tactical, and you really need to pay attention to what you're doing and the rest of your team. And as you're sort of upping the skills level, both your own and of your team, you just get more tired. And I told my guys there that for myself, it's 4-hour optimum. I do not want to do Warzone more than 4 hours. 3 hours is in the zone. The 4th hour is, neither here nor there. But more than 4 hours, I'm already out. I'm just no longer in the zone. And that's something that everyone needs to be adapting and accepting. If you are both a streamer and a gamer, you need to find your particular time of day where you will feel that you are operating at the best of your abilities, and then your gaming, particularly in PvP and competitives, is going to be absolutely staggering. So thank you, Jessica, for all the questions and all of these wonderful thoughts, and I hope that the issues which you described there are going to be easily resolved, and certainly can encourage even more to be connecting with others online and making and building your own community, be it on Twitch or YouTube or elsewhere. But you have to start from somewhere, right? And my suggestion would be, if you like Destiny or if you like The Division, just build your community around one game and make sure you have a regular structure, that you have a kind of regular timetable to which you are going to be delivering your broadcasts, and then you are going to be getting the regular number of participants every single day coming in. The schedule is very, very important, and if you are starting out, the most important thing is that you have your schedule delivered every single day at the same time, right? And you'll need to consider time zones as well, because people coming in from Australia and New Zealand, they'll have an issue if it's clashing with, for instance, the time where they need to be asleep. But I think the best thing to do is just adhere to the European, time zone, and you get people coming in from all over Europe. And regularity. It's not just 2 hours today and then 6 hours on Saturday and then 1 hour on Tuesday and then nothing in between. It's all about regularity, and you've seen with podcasts we get lots of our veterans popping in knowing that this is going to be no stream of Destiny, but I use Destiny as the premise, the base game for my podcast, because the vast majority of my channel participants are attached to Destiny, and you know, it's just the way to do it, really. So regularity, which will mean you deliver maybe 3 hours of Destiny every single day between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. or 8 p.m. 11 p.m. You know, you choose the time accordingly, whichever you like, and then you will have those regulars knowing that you are going to be on at that time, similar to Top the Pops or BBC News. You know exactly what the news are going to be. You can make that a bit flexible at a later stage, but when you're building the community, you cannot be really altering it much, because otherwise people will not be coming in. They need to know. I mean, I had a very strict schedule for about 2.5 years, and recently I've kind of made it a bit more loose. But you know, certain sessions like Warzone were happening always between 4 and 8, or 5 and 8:30 in the evening, and everyone who participated knew exactly that. That's exactly what we're going to get together. And the reason I've given it 5 to 8 or 5 to 9 is to do with people come back from work. You know, they work and they come back and they want to have a couple of hours of respite, and they just look forward the whole day at work. They look forward to that 5 o'clock to get together with us and connect, and also with all of other participants. People watch, we get comments coming in on Twitch, but I think overall, because Warzone is quite competitive, I mean, it's a competitive shooter, right? We get a lot more of people watching and then responding by emails than actually typing on Twitch. They know that if we are in a match, we can't be really reading messages and responding, and that's just the way it is. I've seen other streamers with a few hundred messages coming in. Many of them are sort of automated, and then cheering and throwing in bits and cheers and all that. It's all to do with the community being very supportive of the streamer, but the actual interactivity and responses whilst in a match is something you cannot be managing, and you need to wait until the match is finished if you're running a competitive shooter, right, on your stream, and then you'll read all the messages. Make sure you always read all the messages. You must never ever forget about some of them, and you need to allow quite a large section of your time in between matches for that to be done if the channel is very busy. That will be difficult with some of your regulars, because they want to just hammer the game again and again, and simply as a streamer you cannot do that. Anyway, just a few tips, and thanks Jessica for your wonderful comments and views and all you sent. And I really look forward to hearing more from you, and particularly if you start out on Twitch and you build your channel, ping us a message, tell us how you're doing, and also tell us if you want to come here to talk live online about the process of setting up your own community. It's just something I'd like to hear from any of our friends worldwide, and we can obviously connect you through live audio, and we can have a very nice radio style discussion here, just like what we had with many other Destiny veterans. And I have Kat there, and Kat says, as someone who was thinking about streaming, this is a really good thing to listen to. Oh, thanks Kat, thanks very much for that. Thank you. Well, you probably recall that I talked about my streams quite a bit previously as part of my Destiny slot, but I've now extracted the introduction and community content from my game-based streams, because I felt it'd be easier, first of all, for people to connect on a particular date. If you remember, let's say 24th of March, we talked about streaming and the responses from Destiny community members. Then it's very easy to find exactly that stream on YouTube once the stream is archived, and it becomes a bit more streamlined rather than just a one big sea of information within a 6-hour-long stream. But anyway, as you said, Kat, you're interested in streaming. Maybe you can just give us a question or two, because I'm quite interested to hear. Are there any questions or anything that you would like to know? Also, I know that, if I'm not mistaken, we did play quite a few matches of The Division, and The Division is also a competitive shooter, particularly if you are entering Dark Zone. So definitely a fantastic game, really, for building one's own community. And I think The Division has one of the most unique facilities to which you're bringing in people for backup, and I find that to be so good if you want to be building a community. But then The Division is similar to Destiny. It requires everyday streams, and then the community will be growing. I've not done that with The Division for the obvious reasons, but having that game as the main game, I think, is definitely a fantastic idea, and I'm quite certain if you use all that is given within its current format, that's on the sequel, and you combine that with Ubisoft Connect, you know, the app where you can also import friends and communicate as well as claim rewards, then you know, it'll work. It'll be great. And Kat says, as someone who was thinking about streaming, this is a really good thing to listen to. Well, you know, streaming is a very, very difficult, arduous, and time-consuming type of activity. And contrary to what you get on YouTube videos and through Twitch and previously Mixer, you know, these snippets where they said, I started out with my streams like 2 or 3 months ago, I already have 50,000 followers. That's nonsense. Just utter lie. It is a way through which to sell products, and it is just not the way it works. If you were to be looking at established streamers on Twitch, you will have maybe 2 or 3 different subgroups. The first group is people who do esports, and these are the people who are having the greatest number of participants, right? They already played esports at various tournaments. They're very successful in there, with the teams winning matches and making obviously names for themselves. Just similar to what you get in other competitive sports out there which are not based online. So they will have their own community which has been built with Twitter and Reddit and, you know, Facebook, that will come into their Twitch immediately as they start streaming. So obviously the community is massive and thriving and very much kind of focused on the activities of that particular gamer who becomes a streamer, right? And you then have another group of streamers who are basically very savvy with social networking elsewhere, and they get into sponsorships. So let's say a streamer sets out a new project and they will be sponsored by a major company or a major developer, or even several of these. Obviously getting sponsorships from some companies is very difficult, and down to that particular individual, how they are to be attracting you know, the financial investment and everything else. Because don't forget, the sponsorship doesn't have to be like investment that will come to that streamer in terms of the money. It could be that that firm will be providing them with algorithms that will be basically pushing their stream through various hubs, and therefore the streams will pop up as the main one, let's say for PUBG or Warzone or any other, and they'll be attracting new customers. You'll have companies supporting products, for instance. Then, you know, I've seen that with younger streamers. They're selling drinks or selling, you know, different gadgets that you can use for your streams, various bits of equipment. Frequently they would have also some merchandise, and that is also popular. So that's a form of sponsorship. So anyone who's sponsored by a third party will be then getting you know, greater number of subscribers, viewers, and everything else. Whether they can sustain this in the medium term is a separate issue. So these are 2 groups I described. The third group is people who are naturally inclined towards broadcasting, and they will start out on a particular game like Destiny and build a community over a period of 5 years, which will be then massive at the end of that period. And it'll be all about the quality of their community content, right? So it's the quality of what they do, and it's also about the regularity. Still today, irrespective of what Microsoft are trying to do with, you know, diversity, variety, with the Game Pass and everything else, still people are very conservative when it comes to what channels they'll be watching, and also what games they will be playing. I've had people coming in a few times here saying, well, you play Halo, you play Borderlands, you play Elder Scrolls, you play Pikuniku, you play Max and the Troubles of Brotherhood, and so how come that you play all these kind of variety games together? Why is it that you're not just sticking to one genre? Well, it's very simple. The answer is I'm a variety gamer and always did so from the very beginning. I like enjoying all different types of genres everywhere. But that's not really the case when it comes to the majority. You know, the majority of people are having a limited number of hours per day, or overall when it comes to their free time, particularly people a bit older, you know, with families, and they'll be streamlining the game they like the best and the activity which is attached to it. So you've seen here on my channel, Kat, that I did have several Destiny members who are just playing Destiny. They don't play any other games at all, just Destiny, and that's not like for a month or 2. They played Destiny for 8 or 9 years, ever since the game came out. and a few of them played Halo beforehand. So it was Halo and then Destiny, and that spans over a period of almost 20 years. Can you imagine that? 2 games over 20 years. But I'll tell you one thing, these guys are very knowledgeable on these games. They know absolutely everything. And you will remember our friend Flying Pirate. He is from Nevada, he's in Vegas, and he knew absolutely everything. So Sikapupu, who's also a veteran of Destiny, he played with Destiny for about 4 years, he said that he felt he couldn't believe how quickly I've gone through the Dreaming City and all the other advanced tiers of Destiny 2, but in fact he was grinding it for 10, 12, 14 months. And I said, well, the reason was very simple. I have Flying Pirates in there, and he's a veteran, he knows everything, so just follow him. And he's like a fantastically well-versed teacher stroke community content creator and participant, because he's not pushing it or rushing it, and he is like a guide, and I learned everything from him about Destiny 2. So having that sort of member included in your community will be of tremendous advantage for anyone, for the newbies, for the veterans, because the veterans could kind of get reminded of sections perhaps they forgot about already, and the newbies will be able to learn as they strolled along, and that provides a very, very high quality content. So I'm very, very keen on having chaps who are very dedicated to one particular game, and particularly if they're a bit older and maturer, and therefore fully embedded within what this channel is about. But it's quite interesting. So therefore, the business of broadcasting on Twitch, I think certainly during the initial period will have to be dedicated to one game. As you have more participants and community members, you can diversify, and I think for myself I found the whole experience of doing Destiny 5 hours a day every single day for 2 years very difficult, because I like to play different games and try different ventures, and I think specifically in view of what's been happening of late with the streaming services having so many new titles introduced, it really is absolutely mind-boggling in terms of the sheer number of titles that we've been given, and all else that is being developed from the industry, from the inside of the industry. And the idea is more titles, more games, easier access, better quality, the world which is more immersive, live online, better quality experience, more participants, access on all platforms. It is becoming almost unmanageable at the moment, and I certainly talked a lot about Macbeth, which is Microsoft Bethesda festival that I'm running here, and it's the acquisition of the latter by the former. 20 games of Bethesda popping up on Xbox Game Pass in one day, then accessible on PC. Then Square Enix introducing 6 or 8 the following day. 4 more games introduced at the beginning of next week. It's just not possible to catch up with everything. And I mean, I'm absolutely inundated with information and suffering from oversaturation and massive information overload. Spend 3 hours a day just going through the news, and it's 3 hours in the morning, and then at night 3 hours, just 6 hours a day just looking at the news, and it's still hard to catch up with everything. And so I think in order to minimize on some of it, that collateral, which in fact is the buzzword at the moment in the industry, diversity, variety, easy access, cross-platform, all of this. The most important thing is to get a focus, so if you want to do The Division or Destiny, that's going to be your bread and butter. And I think it's important either to master the game first, so you can be kind of training and teaching others, or you can know nothing about the game and you will bring in people who are already knowledgeable, so they become your regular everyday participants and content creators, and or associates who are involved in content creation. Very important for audio always to be heard, because once they come in, everyone will want to hear them rather than just yourself, and some of the games are causing lots of problems with that. That's due to previous settings on consoles, but I've seen that on PCs as well. So it's very important that these are resolved prior to any form of live online activity, so everyone can be heard. You've seen here on my channel we had huge problems with Warzone on Xbox, and therefore I had to migrate to PlayStation, because for whatever reason It works perfectly on PlayStation. On Xbox, it just doesn't want to record the participants' voices unless they are on Xbox, and that's it. It's really crazy. Right, so very good to see Kate. I mean Kat. I beg your pardon. Very good to see Kat. And we played the Division a little while back, and we had lots and lots of good matches. I remember some of the squad activities through story missions in the Division 1, and I'm doing the Division 2 on Xbox, and I have not completed Warlords of New York yet, and I failed to get my Resident Evil loot due to that, so I was a bit, unhappy about it, because I went back to the Division in order to get the loot, but it's just the way the game is, really, and one had to complete everything on a particular platform in order to get all the rewards. And for whatever reason, I thought we could just stroll along and then pick up some of the items as we completed certain tasks, but no, that wasn't the case. And I guess considering that the Resident Evil event, I should say, was running for about 2 weeks, it was far too short for me to be able to complete everything. But the Division looks and feels much better than ever, and I have it on PlayStation and on Xbox. Managed to get it on Xbox for next to nothing, which is incredible. The Division 1 was given for free, part of Xbox Live Gold package, and then the Division 2 I managed to get for £3.20, the full content, and the expansion I bought for £8.50. So I can't complain. More than, I think I got all 3 games on Xbox for less than £15, and considering the content, I was definitely very happy. Right, so let me think, what else do we have? I mean, first of all, I want to thank Bob, Sam, Jessica and Kat for popping in. Always great to see our community members coming in and connecting with us and everyone else here live online, live on my channel. And I have some news which I need to go through, but there was another very important question, and that came from Ian. Ian is in Stirling. And Ian said, I'm really excited about Bethesda and all the works they're doing together with Microsoft. I find that the number of titles offered is simply jaw-dropping. I'm curious about what other games they will be offering, and quite curious to see how the merger is going to be developing overall. What are your favorite titles at the moment? Well, it's a similar question. Well, first of all, thanks to Ian for taking time to write, and great to see that you're also excited. Ian's also on Xbox and he has instant access to all these games. I think he's also doing it on PC, so you can download some of them straight away, and the quality of the graphics and everything will be much superior, or as good as he wants them to be on his PC. And well, we just kind of touched on that yesterday and talked a bit about the titles that were introduced. I did go through the Doom, the Doom series the other day, and I went through Doom 1, 2 and 3 and 76. I've looked at Dishonored Ultimate Edition, Definitive Edition of the original game. I've looked at Skyrim, and presently I'm also playing Fallout 3. And what else did I do? There was something else. And principally, it's really hard to tell, if I'm to be describing my own personal favorites amongst the games that they're introducing, where there obviously will be Fallout 3 as a kind of a generation-defining game to come out of Bethesda that sort of defined all the other games of a similar kind for many years to come. And then the Elder Scrolls 4, which is Oblivion. I still think Oblivion is the best one in the series, and these are the games that really stand out for me. And also it's wonderful to see that the versions accessible on Xbox have been kind of done up. The frame rate has been beefed up so we can get them up to 120 FPS, and we can download them to PCs if we want to have the best possible graphics. And to be honest with you, I don't have Xbox Series X or S at the moment. I will get the console in due course, but I really don't think that the difference is going to be that great in terms of speed and graphics. The difference will be only very visible if you were to be investing huge sums of money in the very best gaming rig PCs, and then connecting them to 4K or OLED TVs and having massive big, rapid refresh rate. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be that easily visible to the naked eye. On the other hand, any remasters, any major works done for the next gen are very, very highly visible, and the best example is the remaster of Gears 5, a game that's actually very new. It's only been released a couple of years ago, and the difference is incredible. And again, one of the Xbox exclusives, and Coalition worked on the remaster and the original, and I have to say, when I looked at it and compared it, it's just incredible. I can't believe that in such a short period of time the tech could have really evolved so rapidly. And Gears 5, from being a sci-fi shooter, becomes a survival stroke horror game. Every single monster can be seen with incredible illumination and clarity. You can see scratches in the monster's teeth, and it's crazy. But that's the tech for you, and that's the quality, and that's what Microsoft's offering. So if you are in doubt, just take up the offer, $1 a month, or for 3 months in some regions, and then can try all the games. Coming back to the games, I think Bethesda offerings at the moment, certainly there will be Fallout 3 and Oblivion for myself. Special Edition Skyrim is a terrific game, but I still need to see it with its beefed up 120 FPS frame rate. It looks fantastic on my Sony Bravia. Honestly, it's jaw-dropping. But the trouble I have with it is lag. It does feel like the old gen game, and despite the graphics being so incredibly well polished and looking very illuminated and sharp, the character is a bit choppy, and it does affect me a bit when I'm doing the game. But nevertheless, they will apply 120 to it, and I think, well, maybe it's already up and running. I've not tried it on the new console, because guess what, I don't have it here as yet. But there will be many more games coming out. I think I can certainly recommend Dishonored Definitive Edition to anyone who played the original. I played the original, not finished it, but the quality of the graphics is incredible. It's massively enhanced, and I've got to say, when I tried it the other day, I was really surprised. It just looked like a very contemporary, very strongly polished game with a lot of story-driven content. It's all about quality experience. They talked about that, and Phil Spencer, the Xbox boss, he said, we really think we really reached the pinnacle of what can be offered on some levels of the tech, and now we want to have the full immersion. We want the IMAX type of experience, where everyone on a large screen can be having the best quality sound, feel fully part of the world out there, and and that's that. So that is the next step. And thank you very much for your email, and Ian, and thank you for asking us about my personal favorites. There's one game I'm really excited about, and I've tried it today before going live online. Downloaded it yet again overnight, and that game is also part of some of the recent offerings it did have some serious improvements and serious enhancements of late. It's been reworked compared to the way it was initially, and similar to No Man's Sky, it's a game that is really attracting a lot of interest, particularly in view of its recent DLCs. The most recent DLC for the game came out last week, and it looks incredible. It looks like something out of Empire of Sin or LA Noire, like a very, very film noirish. And obviously the game I'm talking about is the Obsidian masterpiece, The Outer Worlds. And this is a game that in its structure and concept resembles Fallout. It is, I guess, tied into degree to their version of Fallout New Vegas, which everyone considers to be the very best of Fallout. And it's just like much more in depth and greater story and well developed. So a game I played for a bit whilst I was attending Infogamer a few years back on the continent, and I played on a massive big screen. It was really, really good, bright color graphics, and really enjoyed it. But it seemed very tricky. There were lots of things you had to learn initially from the word go in order to progress with your character, and I thought this was Not really something that grabbed me, but I've heard they really worked on this because there were some complaints and changed the way the game starts. And I've tried it, and actually the whole, opening up of the game together with cutscenes and character creation was completely different. It's like, oh, this is the other world. Incredible. What's happened? Well, what's going on? And so that is one of the games I'm really, really excited about. Really look forward to it. The other game I really want to play for a while, and I sort of began with my activity on Monday, is Empire of Sin, and probably one of the most incredible, enjoyable experiences of RTS games ever. I just wanted to have a look at it first, and I couldn't depart from the game. Empire of Sin is just incredible. It does have some technical glitches on Xbox, and these may be disturbing some people who are familiar with RTS on PCs, but I really love it. It is incredible. Similar to Gears Tactics, it's kind of bringing in 2 or 3 genres into one big entity, right? Let's put them together, and you have RTS, which would be turn-based strategy type of mechanics, with story-driven game, which is similar to the usual RPGs, and then with a lot of elements of proper kind of interactive movie with dialogue and options which will bear consequences. So it's 3 things together, and I quite like that the bird eye which you're using for the characters when you're walking into the city, and you can really zoom in on the characters so they become fairly large, and the environment becomes really easily seen, because they spent a lot of time on every single detail as you run the streets, and that really turns it into great strength. Also with fighting sequences, they are turn-based strategy, so you will be positioning your characters, but when you blow up the characters and the opponents, they're quite large, and it just changes the pace of the game, and very enjoyable, and you really want to be excelling with the tactics and strategies through which you're building this empire. And I'm playing Goldie, a girl who was from somewhere down south in the US, and she came to Chicago and presented herself as a runaway from Canada, and sort of was able to master French accent, and did all sorts of things. And it's been a true joy playing her and trying to eliminate the guys like Al Capone. And I had to be thinking very carefully on how to manufacture alcohol and how to operate my enterprises during the Prohibition era. It's just wonderful, and it's great. It's great to discover games that you spotted otherwise and that turn out to be a lot better than anything else that you expected. I've not played RTS games for many years, and getting back in the swing of things with XCOM recently, and then Empire of Sin is just a true joy. I need to try and need to play Gears Tactics, a game that I've had on the top of my list for some time, being a Gears of War veteran, played all the installments of the years. Gears Tactics came out last year, and I have not really played it as yet, and I think from what I could gather through podcasts and reviews, it is similar to Empire of Sin. It's also bringing in the elements of storytelling from RPGs through the usual cutscenes and ideas of Gears of War, the environment of kind of a decadent doomsday type of world on that planet, with real-time strategy, where it's turn-based strategy gameplay where you need to be connecting with characters and then positioning them accordingly, and the game will do it for you then when it comes to elimination and shots and all else, the action basically. So that is definitely another game on top of my list. I don't know. It's all about the way things are at the moment, and we want many more new titles to come our way, and we need to have more time to be enjoying them, because really doing games like The Witcher and Destiny and Fallout 76 for instance, Empire of Sin, it's just like really very, very time consuming games, and you need to be really setting up a system through which you'll have a clear policy on what you'll do every single day. I mean, like Lara said the other day, do not waste your time. Invest your time appropriately and make sure that you plan all of your online activity. And I absolutely agree with him. I've got now, charts and lists and everything here, which I never used to do in the past, because previously you go to a shop, buy one game, and just hammer it. And that's no longer the case. We don't need to go to shops anymore. It's all digital, it's instant downloads, and you just keep collecting these games. I mean, since I'm trying to think, I think I've have something like, God knows how many games I have. It's really hard to tell. I think the recent installations on Xbox exceed about 275 games, and it's quite a large number of games within a short period of time of maybe 18 months. And these are the games I've gone through. I've looked at them, played them, analyzed them to the degree. I've not completed all of them. Some were demos, some were full games, and the industry is thriving. It's similar to what we had with the film industry of the 1930s, when the sound was invented. Then the studios became a lot more industrious, and they professionalized, and therefore they turned previously maybe ramshackled enterprises into an assembly line where dozens of thousands of people are being employed every day. And they had a huge number of films produced on an unprecedented scale, and they all kind of were competing with each other, but they also created systems through which each studio was to be producing films of a particular genre with certain stars and directors who were their trademark. So it was a healthy competition, and that's the way they've run it for about 15 years. And that was the golden era of Hollywood, right? And we are having exactly the same thing today in video gaming, because there are loads of independent studios, like for instance Obsidian and In Exile, that then become members of the overall kind of umbrella owned by Microsoft. And you have others who are still competing and looking for the foot in the door, and so many games coming out. And I mean, Falconeer, probably the best possible example. The game looks so incredible, so beautiful, and so well developed, done by one person. You can imagine the whole game done by one person. Looks like there's hundreds of people working on it. Just the beauty of the tech. Radioactive Bull is here, and he has a different ID. Radioactive is called the Ray Gun. How are you, Radioactive? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being a valued member of our community. And it's been a long time. It's been a long time, because I know you like Destiny, and you always pop in for Destiny 1. I've not been streaming Destiny 1 for a while, and Destiny 1 regular streams were substituted about 8 months ago by Warzone. And the reason for that is I felt the overall interest for my Destiny streams on the channel had been receding somewhat when it came to the new members coming in, and overall number of participants on Destiny 1 streams did decrease quite significantly after some of the seasons in the sequel. And Warzone turned out to be a game that was providing us with a lot of activity, a lot of energy, and many new community members. So we changed things around a bit, which doesn't mean that Destiny 1 will not come back. And in fact, I talked yesterday about my desire to bring Destiny back, and I want to really connect it to the new game that will start streaming next week, and I'm sure that Radioactive and Kat will be interested and excited to hear more about it. And the game is, of course, Outriders. Outriders is a wonderful new game produced by People Can Fly Studios, and I had the demo both on PS and Xbox here through DRBMiller introducing, completed the demo, and very exciting, very interesting game, very similar in concept to Destiny, Mass Effect and Anthem. So I think having Outriders and having a bit of Destiny 1 will make it a nice pack, and we'll try to bring in all the veterans. We want to bring in veterans for Destiny 1 maybe for 90 minutes, and then we want them to migrate to Outriders. And I think for myself, as a dedicated Xbox veteran and a streamer, as well as a subscriber to the Ultimate, I'll get the access to Outriders on day one. Will be accessible through the Ultimate subscription on Game Pass, and there'll be no trouble with the game popping up here and being streamed. So that is something I'm really looking forward to. So getting back to our friend Radioactive, Destiny will be coming back, and Destiny 2, I really want to have a full cross-platform access first, and I was expecting that to take place before Easter, and for whatever reason they delayed it, because they said cross-platform early in the year, and we've already gone down the route of ending March, so I'll be patient. I think, bear with me, my voice is gone. I'll just wait and see, really, because once they get full cross-platform access on Destiny, then the community will be really incredible. Be very similar to what we have in Warzone, and I can tell you that Apex and Warzone and PUBG communities have thrived with cross-platform access, because everyone can come in, and if you are a competitive gamer, you may not want to do it as cross-platform. You may want to stick to your PC, but if you are a variety streamer and an owner of a community-based channel like myself, then cross-platform is of essence. Having somebody doing Destiny on Android and then watching us and connecting with us and talking, that's just truly wonderful. I want to see whether Android will be fully incorporated, because if so, we'll have lots and lots of people in there. Destiny is already accessible through xCloud for everyone who's a subscriber, and you need Xbox controller to connect with your Android phone, and you can just play it straight away. But I'm curious to see whether Android access will be also fully integrated with cross-platform, because then we'll have people from Switch and from Android and from Stadia, as well as PlayStation, Xbox and PCs, all coming into one arena. I'm not sure whether this will be possible. I think they were talking about PC and consoles first. I don't know, we'll have to see. Alright, so these are all the thoughts and reflections on our community members' questions, and I want to thank everyone, Jessica, Ian, Sam, Bob, everyone else who has been sending us the messages of support. Thanks to Kat as well for telling us that she found some of my musings and ramblings in here very much of interest, because she also wants to be a streamer. She's considering whether to do it, and I could just say that absolutely yes. Step by step, and start small and then grow big. And if you want to have a great channel with lots of community members, you've got to consider a plan of action, and you just build on the plan every single day. And I think there's one thing which is extremely important for anyone who wants to be doing something within the streaming business. That is the approach, the way you come across. And you need to decide immediately whether you want to be seen on video or not. And you will need to tailor and build your approach accordingly. Because if you are being seen, lots of people base their judgment on the way they come across visually. If you're not seen, they'll base their judgment on the way you talk and the content, the spoken word, similar to what you have with radio programs. And then, it's a method, it's a system, it's a direction that one can take. And in my personal opinion, in order to get very high quality content, it's a lot better to have a non-visual display of the streamer. And the trend is obviously the other way. But you will see in due course that there will be quite a variety, and one will not be bothered. I think generally video hookups are something which is still very new, and it's very popular amongst the younger members of video game community. They like having a face-to-face contact with the streamer, to see exactly what the streamer's doing, and it's similar to what they had previously with people, celebrities being on a TV show, chat show, and then you have callers coming in from various parts of the country, asking questions and connecting with that particular celebrity. It's just about human contact, talking to somebody who allegedly is well-known, famous, or receiving some degree of exposure, and that makes it very exciting and very connecting, which is obvious, right? I think in the long run, this sort of experience could become less important, and the quality of the content and the actual quality of those interactivities online will become really more important than anything else. I need to give you some news today as well, because I'm not really saying anything about the novelties coming in from the industry, and I think we've gone down the route of discussing all other sorts of things here today, all of them indeed based on our community members' questions. So thank you to Ian, to Sam, to Bob, to Jessica, to Kat. Thank you for coming in and indeed raising these issues. It's been truly humbling, and very pleased and very happy to see that our community members are always there for us, always positive, forward-thinking, energetic and thriving. So thank you, and keep them coming. That is most important. Alright, so let's have a look at the news and all that we have there. Some of those are coming on Xbox Wire. And we heard that Gems of War, Clutch Order and Chaos with a Shadow Dragon Legendary Starter Pack. Gems of War is a terrific game. I purchased it a little while back, and it's really quite interesting how you get a puzzler which goes together with story-driven RPG. So very, very interesting, and thoroughly enjoyed playing it, and really highly recommend to everyone. Gems of War, remember that, Clutch Order. So they said, gather your troops and dive into the depths of Cryastra. Jump into the rich and sprawling fantasy world of Gems of War. Must play for match 3 RPG fans. So great for new Gems of War players who are looking to level up, but want to give a little edge to the teams. The new Shadow Dragon Legendary Starter Pack is here to help Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members kickstart their epic adventures across all kingdoms in Cryastra, just in times for 5.4 update. So you'll get Order, Chaos and Evernight, you'll get Shadow Dragon Legendary Starter Pack, and you'll get Legendary Troop Shadow Dragon, Legendary Weapon, Order and Chaos, 10 Legendary Ingots and 1500 Souls, exclusive Xbox Mimic Pet for Xbox Series X and S subscribers. Exclusive X-Pet for your journey, bright and shiny new features. So all of that is coming away through Gems of War Clutch Order. Wonderful, wonderful news. Highly recommend the game. I've not streamed it in here, but I'll bring it in as part of DRBMiller introducing. And I quite like the puzzlers, the way you do things. You know, it's really, really cool. And it's a game that people can obviously play on other platforms. Stadia and Switch would come to mind. I'm not sure whether they were released on these platforms. Ideal for that sort of thing. Sanity of Morris. I've seen it yesterday. I've seen it advertised, and it's offered through Xbox and Microsoft Store on a greatly reduced price. So quite curious to see what this game's about. I didn't watch the trailer. And we have here Matthias Kramer, CEO of narrative designer of Artigo Games, Alter Ego, I beg your pardon, it's not Artigo, Alter Ego Games, and he says, in Sanity of Morris, you follow the clues left behind by your father, who claims to have proof of extraterrestrials in town, and then they mysteriously disappears. It's not like my dad to call at all, let alone leave cryptic voicemails. Could it be he's finally lost it? Early onset dementia. Jonathan Morris. Scary and intriguing. Sanity of Morris is a chilling psychological horror, exactly like you'd expect, complete with scary basements, mysterious noises and monsters chasing you. But the game really shines with its light-based stealth mechanics and intricate intrigue. In Sanity of Morris, you collect clues to find out what happened to your father. Have his wild theories any truth to them all? You get flashlight and notebook. You're equipped with nothing more than a flashlight and a notebook, and it's up to you to step into the shoes of Jonathan Morris and then keep facts from fiction. Using that flashlight, you will reveal clues like footprints and hidden messages that you need to find out the truth. Balance stealth with curiosity, so you can obviously combine the two. Block and create paths. And Sanity of Morris is available now, and it's the result of a lot of love, blood, sweat and tears by publishing team of Sticky Lock and the development team of Alter Ego Games. well offered on a price of $12.74. $12.74 for that game is a true bargain. But I need to watch the trailer. I need to watch a bit more about it. It caught my eye yesterday. It looks like my sort of kind of point and click type of adventure game, and I need to really explore it further. But indeed, already popped up on Xbox Wire. Harvest the crops with the ID at Xbox Farming Sale. So this is in view of the major stream that we delivered on Friday. We're all going to be watching it, and it is going to be dedicated to independent games on Xbox. So they're giving us quite a few games on special offers, up to 70% discount, and we are going to be getting very many demos on Friday as well. So anyway, very, very good time to get our teeth in and get to know what the titles really are. Spring has sprung up and the sun is finally out, which means it's time to grab our tools and tend to our crops. Whether you like to explore space, protect your crops from zombies and alien species, or just relax and become the ultimate farmer, we put together a list of some of the best farming sims from independent developers and then discounted them up to 70% off from March 23rd, which is yesterday, to 29th, so 6 days. And this is going to be blending in with the presentation. So I have Slime Rancher, Stardew Valley, Astroneer, Farm Together, Farming Simulator. Farming Simulator is very good, 33% off. And these are the games that you can obviously get more or less straight away. First look at MLB The Show 21 gameplay. Let's have a look at that. Spring training is winding down at the 2021 Major League Baseball season is right around the corner. Everyone on our team is excited to show you the first extended look of MLB The Show 21. Can you figure out the new feature that's being teased near the end? So they'll have new features premiered. MLB The Show 21 feature premieres, remaining feature premiere schedule, ball play introduction, more variety and ways to play than ever before. Franchise and MTO empowers you to make decisions for the future. MLB The Show goes next gen, Diamond Dynasty streamlined with new paths to rewards. So early access to MLB The Show 21 is available beginning at 9 o'clock PM on April the 15th. It's a few weeks away. With any collector's edition purchase, Jackie Robinson Edition, Jackie Robinson Deluxe Edition, or Digital Deluxe Edition. So you can get more detailed information through Xbox Wire, so you can have a look. So that's all that's come to us on the Wire. I'm not sure what's going on because for about 3 or 4 days no news coming in on the Wire. It's very strange. I still want to remind people that we had a wonderful presentation by Square Enix, and there are really so many interesting games coming in from them, and I'll just give you an example. Just bear with me. Where is it? Of some of those that I'm really excited about. And Outriders obviously is the first and the biggest. I mentioned already several times today. We'll start streaming Outriders on the day 1, which is 1st of April, which will be obviously accessible to us all on the Ultimate, and I'm very excited about it. And I think blending Outriders with Destiny 1 will be a good idea, because I've spotted some similarities, but I need to stress one fact. Outriders in concept, when you have 3 what they're called they call Outriders. You have 3 Outriders who are actually like our guardians in Destiny, and you play a team of 3, and you have the world that I guess resembles more the world of Anthem than what you would have had in Destiny, and the battle sequences are very similar to Anthem as well. But then on the other hand, the overall concept is similar to Mass Effect. So it's Mass Effect, Destiny and Anthem. All 3 of those are my absolute favorites, and a no-brainer really. We'll have it here, and most importantly, if you've not played the demo, download it and play it right now. And then all of your achievements, everything you complete in there, all the loot, all the armor, all the levels, all the world tier difficulty levels, all of them will be imported to the full game. So you're not going to be wasting your time, and you'll get to know what the game's like. So you can play separate characters, you can do it together in teams with others, and you can play it also on either console, just like what I've done. And the game will have cross-platform access as well. So all very good. So Outriders is the game I'm really excited about. Then they talked about celebrating the 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider. The Definitive Survivor Trilogy Edition have been released last week, right? And it's been presented on during the presentation. It looked really incredible, and I was really surprised to discover they're offering it for £17. £17 already with that huge discount. Probably a special deal that they have with Square Enix. So if you are a Lara Croft stroke Tomb Raider fan, this is a no-brainer. These 3 games have been completely reworked, remastered, digitally polished up, massive amount of content, £17. That will make it more like, what is it, £5, £6 per game. And you know, I'm definitely going to be getting it before the end of the special offer next week. I'll buy it on Sunday, I think, or Monday, and I definitely want to have it. And then maybe we'll stream it in here as well. But definitely, Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy is the game which is then first of all introduced on that presentation, and it's already accessible to us all. I think it was coming out on the same day. We've seen and heard about Marvel's Avengers roadmap, and I'm not going to go through that. We have new Balan Wonderworld trailer. The game is coming out on the Xbox on March 26th. It's in 2 days. Yeah, but then the games I'm really excited about, okay, and that's Life is Strange True Colors. That game looks absolutely incredible. There's a clip in there with the main protagonist singing Radiohead song Creep, and you've got to see it. It's just absolutely tip-top. The best I've seen in many, many years. You'll remember that the original series also had a great emphasis given to soundtrack and music, and the girl that plays the main character, she is actually a singer, and she also does the introduction through Vidoc. That's basically beautifully embedded within the presentation of Square Enix. So definitely have a look. And Life is Strange True Colors revealed, and then Life is Strange Remastered, right? And that will be called Life is Strange Remastered Collection or True Colors Ultimate Edition. So there's 2 different editions coming out, and I did watch the comparison trailers, and the graphics are again much more advanced compared to the original, although these games did not come out too long ago, but still we have the enhancement of the tech, and very, very excited about all of it. I will be getting them all, so I must make sure I do not break the bank. But my first purchase of the games that they introduced is going to be of that Lara Croft Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy. I've looked at it yesterday, and the package includes Tomb Raider, the original, then Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then you have Shadow of the Tomb Raider. All the DLCs and everything else is fully included. It did get 4.5 out of 5, 9 out of 10 PlayStation Lifestyle, and then we have 9 out of 10 on IGM, and then 9.5 out of 10 on Level Down Games. So that's a no-brainer. Okay, any more news on Twitter? Let's have a look. Well, if you've already beaten Valheim's final boss, there's plenty of time and plenty of activities that you can do to keep yourself busy. So if you want to know what else to do after you've defeated the boss, there are 9 things you can do, and PC Gamer really states what these ones are. Start over but skip the bosses this time. Then you have lift the fog from your world completely. Well, that's curious. Hang up every single one of those trophies you earned. Build a fort around the vendor. See how far you can ride a Death Squeeto. Build an elaborate portal hub. Well, that's extraordinary. Play with true permadeath. Use mods for a more traditional survival experience. Find your perfect seed and settle down. Well, I want to hear from all of you. Are you playing Valheim? It's a PC game, obviously. If so, just drop us a line. I want to find out what you think, whether you enjoy the game. And I've just given you 9 things to do once you've beaten Valheim, so that's incredible. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on PS5 supports cross-save, activity cards, DualSense, and a lot more. So if you're interested, just head to my Twitter. You'll find the posting on it, which would have come through Push Square, and to tell you all about it. So let me see, in addition to the ones I pronounced already, cross-save, activity cards, dual sense. What else? Well, that's just the catch. I didn't see anything else, but that's about it. So it will be for 1 and 2 on PS5, you'll get cross-save. So that's great, because you can bring in cross-save from another platform, right? From Xbox or PC. And then you will also get activity cards and dual sense and more. Genshin Impact, $1 billion in mobile revenue. Well, that is absolutely mind-boggling. 1 billion in mobile revenue, and the 6th highest earning characters via Forbes. Red Dead Redemption 2 Legendary Moose dies in a rather unexpected way. What happened to him? And all of the thrilling activities available in Red Dead Redemption 2 few require as much patience and effort as hunting for legendary animals. Now, a single player has gone above and beyond and finished off a legendary moose in a very strange way. In an effort to get a stunning screenshot, Reddit user Disco Magic Party accidentally pushed the moose too far. This is only the latest in seemingly never-ending string of uncovered secrets in Red Dead Redemption. Well, to tell you the truth, we had a bit of an open discussion here on my podcast a little while back, last week I think, and we were talking about this incredible, big, massive, engrossing, immersive open world. And this is a game that has like hundreds of games in it. You can do so many different things over a period of time and become fully involved with the open world, with the characters, with animals, with everything else that could be found in various corners of the landscapes. And you know, a game that will just withstand any pressure of time. And it's quite interesting to see that people are really trying to get the best possible screenshots of animals or other participants, and then, you know, something else goes wrong, like he lost his moose. Very sorry to hear that, and not happened to me, but still, you know. The 900GB collection features E3 demos, press builds, and alpha versions of hundreds of games, and that's actually to do with Crash Bandicoot, God of War, and Final Fantasy. And there was somebody who managed to get all their pre-release footage, and they saved it, and it was all preserved as part of the kind of PS2 archive. So we heard this today through Games Radar, and it's the video game preservation group called the Hidden Palace. So they released more than 700 rarely seen prototypes and early builds of PlayStation 2 games. So it was spotted by VGC. The Hidden Palace recently had a lengthy Twitch stream as part of what is referred to as Project Deluge. During the 6-hour broadcast, it showed off pre-release builds of a number of games, including Crash Bandicoot, the Wrath of Cortex, God of War 2, and Final Fantasy X2. Well, that's terrific, because, you know, like I said many times before, video gaming is going down the route of the new form of modern art. We'll have museums in no time erected with graphic arts and you know, the storyboards and, you know, concept art and everything else which is preceding the creation of any of these big games. And I think that's the future. It's fantastic to see that people are waking up and realizing that this is all very, very valuable, and none of these materials will be then lost or destroyed. Therefore, they'll get a proper place in the pantheon of what will be at that point seen as the new generation of works of modern art. We also hear the Japanese company creates Monster Hunter Holiday for the new game release. Well, that's fantastic. It's a great game, Monster Hunter, and you know, whenever a massive game is released, no doubt die-hard fans with nothing more than to take a day off, and some may suddenly find themselves coming down with a cold, and the only recipe for recovery is a day of gaming. But employees of Tokyo-based VR studio Marcon do not need to really feign illness. Executive Jack Masaki formally announced that this Friday, because of the release of Monster Hunter Rise, staff will probably not be able to focus on the work. Therefore, the day is officially a Monster Hunter holiday, giving workers a nice 3-day weekend just to play the game. So what do you say about that? That's just like a good boss, isn't it? The holiday applies to all employees, but as Masaki notes on Twitter, it does not apply to top-level executives like himself, so he's not going to be playing the game. Well, that's astonishing. What What else do we have? The last bit of news for today before we wrap it up, before I go and have my lunch. I've gone down the route of having lunches and dinners, so that's something new. Watchdogs Legion unveils DLC roadmap and announces free trial weekend. So we are excited to hear that they are producing the DLC roadmap and there will be a free trial weekend, and I am going to be doing that free trial because I've not played Watchdogs Legion at all this yet. Ubisoft has revealed a roadmap for when lots of players of London Hackfest Watchdogs Legion can expect its story expansion and other additional downloadable content following the release of the recently launched online mode First Tactical Operation last night. The First Tactical Operation, then it's called Leader of the Pack, and challenges you to team up with friends online to bring down a deadly initiative across 5 missions. In late April, more new co-op missions are set to be added to the Season Pass holders, and they will get their first bit of post-launch exclusive content in the form of new playable hero Mina Sidhu. So late May will see the second tactical op, as well as PvP invasion, and then PvP extraction modes added online for all players. Then in late June, the game's first story expansion entitled Bloodline launches alongside new playable heroes Aiden Pierce from the original game and Wrench from Watchdogs 2. So in August will bring with it a huge crossover event with Assassin's Creed, which everyone will get to play, while Season Pass owners will get a new playable demo hero in Assassin Darcy alongside some new missions. You can check out the full roadmap for yourself in the tweet, which indeed I reposted. And Ubisoft has also announced the free weekend trial this weekend. So it's happening this weekend. Okay. Meaning anyone who's not picked up the game already will get to download the game for free between the March 25th, that is tomorrow, and March 29th, and get full access to half of London's boroughs, as well as the single-player storyline up until the Sky Larson mission. Hoo-hoo! That is the best news I've heard in a long while. I'm going to be downloading it straight away. I can't wait for it, and we are going to be having then Watchdogs Legion weekend. So that's the weekend sorted for me and for our community members. And you know what? On this note, we'll end this broadcast. So thank you for watching. That's fantastic news. Watchdogs Legion for free this whole weekend. I can't wait for that. So that's the biggest news. That's the most joyous bit of news I would have heard today. Absolutely and truly delighted, and it's come away immediately as I was wrapping up this broadcast. So thank you for watching, thank you for listening, thank you for sending us all of your messages, thank you to all of our friends, thanks to Kat, to Radioactive, thanks to Jessica, Sam, Bob and Ian. Thank you all for contributing, and we'll carry on with our musings, ramblings and discussions tomorrow when we get back for another podcast. When I come back from my lunch, I'll do a bit more Fallout 3 today. I'm really excited about Watchdogs Legion on my channel starting from Friday, I think. Well, let's just look forward to that, shall we? See you later.